Hello, everyone. I'm Mark,
I'm Rob.
and welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We need more subscribers. Hit that notification bell when you do and make some intelligent, non-insulting comments and share it with your family, friends, even your enemies. I don't care who you share it with. Just share it with anybody. Uh, also, we got a live show on Mondays, 7 to 8 Eastern time, and we're going to talk about football and basketball and the Olympics. That's it. All right. So, I'm in a good mood, Rob. You want to know why?
I think I know why, Mark. Something happened last night. The Fever finally won their first road game, and they to a sellout crowd here in the D.C. area at the Capital One.
That's not
And
why.
there
That's
was
not
some
why.
there was some player that this one-trick pony player.
That's not why, Rob. I can talk
No,
about basketball today. That's why I'm happy. I can talk
all
about
right.
basketball. I know we chose the topics for our channel, but that's because that's what's in the news and that's what comes up. I
Yeah,
don't even like talking about that stuff. I do it because people put misinformation out there and have dumb opinions that are not objective, and I want to correct them. That's why I talk about those topics. But I'm going to talk about basketball today. In this video,
yeah.
we'll talk about more about Caitlin Clark and her impact and why she's so excited in another video, because otherwise it's going to be too long, because there's a lot to take out of this game, even though it was against a last place team. That doesn't matter. It's still a team. It's still a WNBA game. And I know the haters going to say that. That's what haters. First thing the haters are going to say. Oh, went against last place. They played defense on it. There was some good defense by that team. I'm surprised they have no wins. Washington Mystics. I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think they're as bad as a record. Obviously, they're a bad team. They haven't won any games, but they've been competitive, from what I understand, in the games. But if you didn't hear last night, Indiana Fever won 85-83. I'm sure you probably know that before you're watching the video. And you also know that she scored 30 points and was 7 for 12 in threes. And a lot of them were logo threes. And she had eight rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. And, she also had 8 turnovers. So we'll get to that. And those have got to come down. And she was 8 for 15 in the thing. But she really controlled the game. And not only that, she was extremely exciting last night. It just reminded me of how I got infatuated watching her in the first place when I watched that game. It was really unbelievable. It was like one of the most exciting sports things I've seen this year. And
she looked well rested, and she was comfortable out there, getting used to playing in the WNBA. Yeah, I think it was one of her better games. I agree with you.
I think it was her best game. And I would say she played great, but not brilliant. If the turnovers were 3, I would say that would be a brilliant game. But it was a great game. It was one of the best games the NBA's seen so far this year. And I realize that doesn't make her the best player or anything like that. AJ Wilson seems to be the best player right now. But that's another story. Anyway, so I want to talk about Mitchell first, because a lot of people give her crap for not passing. In fact, last game, not only didn't she pass, she had no rebounds, no steals, no blocks, no anything except for her shots. And she's an all-star last year. In case you don't know, she averaged 18 points a game last year, and she's as fast as any player I've seen in the league. I don't know if she's the fastest. I haven't even seen every team so far because the Indiana Fever haven't played everybody, and I only watch Caitlin Clark because I don't like the WNBA. I like Caitlin Clark, but and they're proving that I shouldn't like them with their prison ball that we did a video on. But she finally passed to other people. The first quarter, she made 3 good passes. Right. I think 2 of them were assists. 3 good passes, and then in the second half, she passed to Clark twice, which is 2 times more than she's passed to Clark in 11 games before that. I've only seen her pass to Clark twice in the entire year. Right. So the coach obviously said something to her. I didn't know she's a very good passer. I wouldn't know because she never passes. I said in another video, Rob, that Wheeler is the only one that seemed to be a very good passer, other than Boston sometimes at the top of the key.
Well, maybe they had time with this time off. They had time to practice, and then they had plays, and she was passing it to her. So that probably contributed to that also.
Rob, I'm sure that the fact that they had a lot of practices and 5 days off contributed to the team playing better. I mean, forget the fact that the other team doesn't have any wins. A win's a win. Okay. Mm-hmm. You still have to figure out how to win close games, even if the other team is also not a great team. So right. The haters can go, they can just go to another channel. I don't care. It's a win's a win. And yeah, 8 turnovers, and I'll get that. But she played a great game. But that's right. Mitchell, again, had 15 points. She was 6 for 13. She had 4 assists and 3 steals. And she made some great hustle plays. And she's a really excellent defender.
Yeah, she's quick. Like I said, she's quick. She's quick, and she's got good hands. Yeah, and like I said, they with their defense is starting to really improve. I'm noticing that a lot when I was watching the game. Also, that I was like, wow, they're really what we call in defense help and recover. So if the person's driving, you help, but then you recover back to your player. So they were doing a lot of that, and I'm like, oh, that's good, very good, good hustle.
Right. Well, it's good because I know people say she's got to go, get off the team. I go, they can't afford to lose anybody. They only have 5 good players, and one of them is injured right now. All right. So, and they have like, I don't know how good you want to think everybody is. Boston was an all-star last year too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. They can't afford to lose anyone. I mean, people are giving Wheeler crap. No, she's a good backup point guard. I don't think she was probably one of the weakest starting guards in the league last year, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean she doesn't belong in the league. That doesn't mean it's not good for the team because you need depth, And when she comes off the bench, she's the next best passer after Clark, and she hustles on defense. She's a little short in stature, but she's quick, just like Mitchell. She's almost as quick as Mitchell, and she has a good attitude. And she had 5 assists in only 13 minutes. Okay, so let's not give Wheeler a hard time anymore. And like I said, I'm a big fan of hers because she put her arms out and welcomed Caitlin Clark even right after she got drafted, even at the draft.
Right.
So, I guess Smith had 10 points but 10 rebounds. Okay, so that was great. And she did that. And Boston was okay. She had like 6 rebounds and she only got 10 points. She was 3 for 9. And she traveled when Clark passed it to her underneath. She missed a bunny. She's not playing as well apparently as she was last year. I didn't watch.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for her to have a breakout game. I mean, if she has a breakout game, then I think the Fever, does have a chance to try to, improve on their record. And who knows if Boston can play like the level that she did last year, maybe they can get in the playoffs.
Oh, I mean, if they all start playing, well, they'll make the playoffs. Like their schedule is a lot easier now, and they're going to have rest between games. I think I told you guys yesterday that they have 109 games, 109 days for their remaining 29 games. So it's going to be about 3.5 days per game. So that's good, and I think that'll make a big difference, especially when they get Temi back because she matches up with Clark well because she's the fastest of the bigs. I don't even like that term, but of the forward special centers. She's the fastest. And because, Leah Boston's not fast at all. And Smith is kind of has a kind of speed, but not Alyssa Smith. I'm sorry. I said Alyssa Smith. And she has a little bit of speed, but not much. Leah Boston doesn't have any. So, but Temi does. So we're all waiting for her to come back. That'd be great. Right. Rob, so what were your takeaways about just the game itself?
Well, like I said, I mean, yeah, it was a more exciting game. The Fever looked a lot better with well rested, and looked more organized on their offense and defense. And of course, Clark was hitting, hit the 3-pointers to get them going. So overall, yeah, I mean, this is what the WNBA is about, or basketball is about. No matter what your level or what your record is, you go out there and you play. That's what it is, and that's why I enjoyed the game. Both teams are playing very well. They played hard.
Yeah, there was no drama last night, and I want to hand it to the refs. This was a well officiated game, almost shockingly to me. I think it was fair. I don't think Caitlin Clark was on the short end of the sticks for the first time in maybe of the 12 games that I've seen. Right. In fact, one time I thought she kind of got a call that maybe she shouldn't have got when the woman was kind of grabbing a little bit, and she just pushed him away real hard, and she still got the call. And so that was I was in the first or second quarter. But in general, I thought it was well officiated and was fair, which is unusual. I have no idea, why these refs are better or why there wasn't any drama. Maybe they said something to the officials to make sure to call it kind of tight, so we don't have any more like what happened to AJ Wilson the other day, where she got hit in the face 3 times in one game.
Yeah.
But it was different. That's all I can say.
We'll see. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. Well, it's only one game and it's only 3 refs.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But anyway, so I mentioned Wallace hit 3 it was hit three 3-pointers, and Samuelson came off the bench and was 2 for 4. Wallace was 3 for 7. So that's good. They got to hit those threes, because if Clark gets a lot of attention, that should open up the 3-point shots for everybody, which it does. But Wallace hasn't been hitting them, so she needs to do that. So that's good. So that was a good sign. But they had a lot of days to work on the practice and stuff like that, and I think it showed. And I think they're becoming more comfortable. I say that the substitution, again, I don't agree with how she does the substitution. She took Clark out in the middle of the second quarter instead of just sitting around the first 3 minutes of the second quarter. And as soon as they did, as soon as she went down, they lost points when she was gone. She was gone, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying she has to play 40 minutes a game. I'm just saying. And then when she came back in the second quarter, they took her off the ball, which is okay. But Wheeler wasn't always in there the whole time. And when they did take her off the ball, the other team went on a streak, and they didn't score, I think, for 7 minutes.
Right.
They didn't score a field goal for 7 minutes.
Right.
Just keep her on the ball unless Wheeler's on there, and then Wheeler's in there, and they can switch back and forth on the ball to take some pressure off her. Mm-hmm. You can see she plays better when she has it, and she's still learning how to play off the ball, and that's part on her. I get that, but
with the
anytime
coaching,
you do it doesn't. Their offense doesn't flow.
So with coaching, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's part. You got to look at the game while you're coaching and see what goes with the flow. You can't just stick to your game plan. Sometimes you got to throw the game plan out the window when you're coaching. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it this way. But then if it happens that something else, maybe Clark is doing this or another player is doing this, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll keep this player, or maybe I'll do this adjustment. That's part of coaching is making adjustments during the game.
Right. Well, she had a lot of threes, and they weren't wide open threes. Just so if you didn't watch the game, they were logo threes, and they were difficult shots. And she made them, and she made 5 in a row. I didn't see her have any wide open threes, if I can remember correctly. I could be wrong. But in general, they played tight defense. They didn't double team her as much as they normally do, like I said. But they played tight defense on her, and she was definitely the focus of their attention on the defensive end. And they had good defenders on her. They were on her. They were physical with her. And they called fouls on her when they did. That's just what I like. But the attendance was sold out at 20,000. And Chicago Sky was there either the night before, I think, and they only got 10,000. So when Angel Reese saw the attendance and also saw that Clark had, 38, 6, and 4, maybe her fake eyelashes fell off. I don't know, but I'm sure something happened when she noticed that, because she thinks it's all about her. But the attendance was twice what it was when Chicago Sky's up. So please stop saying it's 1A and 1A. It's not. So anyway. Rob, any other thoughts about the game that you?
No, I mean that's just about it. I mean make sure the Fever's got to just keep it going. They're they seem to be on the right track. If Boston could get untracked also, and then Mitchell seems to be more passing the ball more, because she's a great ball player, very quick. So, like I said, this is still way early in the season, and everybody's getting used to each other. So
okay. Here's a stat for you. She's the first player to get 200 points and 5 assists in only 12 games. Sue Bird did it in 14. She actually tried the floater twice yesterday. You can see that she needs to work on it.
Yeah.
Maybe get a couple of NBA players to teach her how to do it better. But she missed one, and the other one, I think she got fouled on. But she tried. She tried to do a little middle game. She needs that floater, pull-up jumper, and to round out her game. Everybody says that, and we've talked about it several times. But at least she tried it twice yesterday.
Right.
So that's good. And her layups always tend to be on the right-hand side, and she needs to do it on the left. I don't know why. That shouldn't be difficult for her. But I'm sure she's working on that.
Right.
So, there was a woman on the team, Julie Van Loo, who was covering her. And she was a 31-year-old rookie from Belgium. I don't know why it took her so long to get in the league, because she seemed like a good player. I don't think she's a great shooter from what I understand, but she's a really good passer and defender. And she made a great pass. It was the most exciting pass of the game, which is really unusual. When Caitlin Clark's in the game, she did an over the head pass to the person cutting. It was a great pass. They made it the pass of the game. And I thought that was a great pass, by the way. I rarely see an exciting pass in the WNBA. In fact, the only exciting passes I think I've seen are Caitlin Clark's till last night. But I have to give her credit. And then they kept switching up on the defenders. So they did that. So, but there was a lot of goals for that game, and I think they needed to get a win. They needed to play better. They needed Mitchell to get in, and need Clark to have a good game. And they got most of those things they accomplished. They didn't accomplish Clark cutting down the turnovers, but everything else, she shot better, and people seem to be on the same page more team wise. Like I said, who cares whether it's the last place team? You got to play better as a team, and it's a win. They had a few defensive lapses. There was a woman, I forget her name now, but she was a big woman. She was tall and big woman. She was hitting threes, and she was like wide open on three. Like, how do you lose her? And
well, I mean, it happens. I mean, as a coach, you like to have everything to go perfectly and things like that. But I mean, they're going to score, and sometimes there are going to be defensive laps, and as long as it's not consistent through the game, I mean, it's going to happen. Someone's going to happen. Someone's going to miss an assignment, and then that's when you point it out to them as a coach.
Right. I don't know if her name was Dobson. I think her name was Dobson. And Aaliyah Edwards, not to be confused with Aaliyah Boston, she came from Connecticut. She played pretty well. She was drafted 6th, by the way. I think she was drafted right before Angel Reese, if I'm not mistaken. She was drafted Reese. So she played pretty well, and she looked good. Another Connecticut player. So, Rob, I think one key to take away from this game is they've got to do it against better teams now. And, Clark has cut down on the turnovers, and I will address that right now. For people who are new to basketball because you started watching because of Caitlin Clark, if you already know a lot about basketball, then this might bore you, but I think it's necessary to go over for those who don't know because the haters keep, emphasizing her turnovers. First of all, she's handling the ball more. So you're always going to have more turnovers and handle the ball more. And that happens. And her teammates are new, and sometimes they don't catch her passes, and they attribute the turnover to her when really maybe it shouldn't be. They're supposed to determine who's more at fault, and I think they've been sometimes erring on the side of Clark. But be that as may, usually what they do is when you're a point guard, is they look at the ratio of assists to turnovers, and 2-to-1 is considered really good. Anything above that is exceptional. And Clark is 1.8 in college, but here she's just slightly over 1 now. So because she's got a lot of turnovers, so that's what she needs to improve on, and I think she will. But if you're someone that's not handling the ball, that's it's a whole different story. That's why you have a lot fewer turnovers than someone else. So you can't just count turnovers. You have to look at both, and that's what's going on. And other players don't have as good as turnover ratio as Clark. They just don't just bring assist to turnover ratio as Clark. A lot of people don't, but no one brings it up because their turnovers aren't high, but they don't have any assists either. They don't handle the ball much. So just keep that in mind if you're new to the sport and you're a hater, because but they got to come down. There's no question about that. That's what I want to say about the game, Rob. And we're gonna have another video talking about Caitlin Clark and the impact, and why I think this reminded people why she's the super exciting player and why she's the face of the league. And I think this game reminded of that, and she's got to do it more. And again, and I hope this is kind of turning them around, and the rest and everything. And I hope they start winning games so they can make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I just think not just the team, just the overall play of the WNBA. I believe the players. I hope everything keeps going, and the commissioner gets a handle on the referees and the prison ball play to make it watchable. Otherwise, people are just going to be turned off to it again.
Yeah, I saw some more comments about that. That people can't believe it, that we in relation to the video that we had about the prison ball, and they all said, "Yeah, I'm not going to bring my daughter to this game," and they're blowing it and all this kind of stuff. And we talked about that. Yesterday's game though was refreshing compared to what apparently happened the night before. I just saw the highlights of with AJ Wilson, but it was refreshing to see that we could talk about basketball. The level of play, wasn't great because it was two of the weakest teams in the league. But it was clean, it wasn't prison ball, and it was well officiated. And I'm glad to see that hopefully, we get more of that. Hopefully we turn the corner with all this, and Clark's turned the corner, and she looked refreshed, and that's good to see. And, by the way, if you saw the press conference, there was a press conference afterwards. And I looked at it this morning, and it was her and Mitchell. And all the questions were directed at Clark. And some were like either one. And then she looked at Mitchell. Mitchell didn't say anything. So she kept answering the questions and then said, we got one more question. And she said, basically, she said, ask it to Mitchell. Because she could see how uncomfortable Mitch is just sitting there and nobody's asking her any questions. And Mitchell had a good game. And so, and then she put her arm out to Mitchell. And Mitchell put her arm back. And then she put her arm around her while she was answering the question.
Right.
Clark's a classy human being. I don't care what anybody says. You know, she's a competitive on the court, but she's a classy human being. And it just, and then the whole press conference before and after the game, just how she handled the press and how she gave all the compliments to her teammates.
Right.
And she gave compliments to all the great players in the league. She even said nice things about Kennedy Carter. You know, she did. She said, "Oh, she's a really good player." You know, she's just high on all that.
And she bears no grievance against what happened. You know, so yeah, that's what I mean. Not to get back to it, but why? What is the point of you disliking someone who's never did anything to you?
I have no idea, Rob. You know what? And if you're a hater, you're missing out on a great show.
Right.
I can picture like some racist white guy who's a big fan of Larry Bird, and then Michael Jordan comes along and takes over the league, and Bird hurt his back. I know that. But you just not appreciating and watching Michael Jordan too, because I'm a big Larry Bird fan also, because you hate him or whatever. For whatever reason, you just hate him because he took the thunder away from Larry Bird or something like that. Same thing. A lot of the people hating on Caitlin Clark are black. But Rob, that's the bottom line. Not all of them. I think some of them went to Connecticut, some of them went to South Carolina, some LSU fans. You know, those things like that. She beat all three of those in the two tournaments, the last two tournaments of junior and senior. But I think most of them are, and they're totally irrational about it. And it's like, why are you missing out? Why are you missing out on a great show? Like last night, if you watch that was super exciting. It really is.
It was a basketball game. That's the whole. That's my whole point. Just watch it. Watch the basketball game. Watch the players.
There's a reason.
Enjoy the game. Enjoy. If you've never seen a WNBA game, you're like, oh, hey, these ladies are not that bad. This is not a bad league. Whatever. They have some good players.
There's a reason.
It's not like super great, but I mean, it's watchable.
None. There's a reason why a lot of WNBA players, almost all of them black that have spoken out, praise Caitlin Clark and say how great she is and how exciting she is. I think they pretty much know basketball. They might not know the WNBA as well, but they know basketball. They know great basketball when they see it. So that's okay. I mean, I don't care if you miss out. And I'm just saying you're missing out on a great show. Just like you could have missed out on Michael Jordan if you didn't like him for some reason, because you missed out on the greatest sports show in sports history, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Anyways, that's us. That's what I think about the game. I'm glad that they looked a lot better. I'm glad Caitlin Clark looked a lot better. She looked refreshed, and I hope this turns the corner for them. And we'll see. They needed some confidence, and they got it. A win's a win. And our live show is Monday, 7-8 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join us. We'll have another one on Caitlin Clark. We're going to talk about her impact in the league. We're going to avoid race, and we're going to do that. And also, we're going to have the NBA Finals. We'll have a video for you on Monday morning. People seem to be ignoring our NBA videos, and they all just want to listen about Caitlin Clark. So, but the Caitlin Clark videos all over the internet get the highest views, which is really embarrassing for the NBA. You would think the NBA Finals would be like dominating Yahoo in the news.
Yeah, I don't see too much. I've noticed that also. I haven't seen too much on YouTube about, going on about the series. I'm like,
you know what this reminds me of, Rob? I started watching basketball when I was 9-10 years old, when Lou Alcindor / Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got drafted into the league, and a teacher pointed out that he was going to be better than Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. And I knew who those were, but I really wasn't watching basketball because my dad didn't. So I said, all right, well, let me go watch them. And I watched them in the second year they win a championship. And in Rochester, New York, where we grew up, the headlines for them winning the championship was in the bottom of the sports page. So someone just won an NBA title, and it was on the bottom of the sports page of the Democrat and Chronicle in Rochester, New York. I said to my dad, why isn't it in the top of the page? I was like 11 years old. He goes, it probably was in Milwaukee. I go, but yeah, someone just won a title. It's like, that's what's happening to the NBA, right? Caitlin Clark is at the headlines, and the NBA is being pushed down by someone. And it's amazing it's amazing. I'm not sure it's fair to the NBA because that's going to be a great series. I think if Dallas bounces back, it's going to be a great series. And so it's too bad, but people are obsessed with Caitlin Clark. Tim Legler on ESPN said he could watch Caitlin Clark play 7 days a week, and I'll say, well, I could watch her 8 days a week because I'm a Beatles fan. So, and that's what you're missing, and that's what's happening right now is people just want to see her, and people say, well, she should go to Europe and F this league, and unless they can get a TV contract, that won't work. She can't establish herself as the best player in the world if she goes over there, because the leagues aren't as good. But so hopefully it'll work out in the WNBA with her, and she won't get hurt. That's what I
think so. I think it will. All righty.
All right. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell when you do, and make some intelligent, non-insulting comments, and like the videos and share it with your family, friends, and enemies.
All right, peace out.
Now, peace out.